Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Wednesday, October 2nd. We are full swing into Week 5. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon right across from me, as always.
What up?
Today we are going to give you our Week 4 booms and busts and talk about some trade options. We'll also give you a few matchup breakdowns for the week. I believe it's 5 matchup breakdowns, if we get that much.
Yeah.
If we can fit that much in.
We usually just play it by ear with that one.
Yeah. Before we get into our Week 4 booms and busts, be sure to do the following. Go over to our website, thefantasychampions.com. We got all kinds of crap over there. Just go there and look at it. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the FF Champs on Twitter and at the Fantasy Champions on Instagram. See, I didn't even mean to say Twitter until you said it.
Twitter.
You said Twitter.
Go
I
follow
really
us on the Tweety bit.
I try not to sound like we're from Boston, but oh boy. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/thefantasychampions.com. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Check us out on Google Play. Leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. Let's get right into the booms and the busts from Week 4.
But I think it's just going to be booms. We'll probably quickly go over a bust. I don't know. It's up to you.
It's up to you. So let's just go over a few at each position.
Okay.
We'll start off with some booms at quarterback. Jameis Winston led the field, 30 fantasy points. Absolutely went bunkers.
Yeah.
He went bunkers.
Dude is a baller.
Yeah, dude. I was shocked that the Buccaneers scored 55 points.
Yeah, against the Rams. I did not expect that. That's for sure. How about, I hate to jump the gun, but Matt Stafford, 23 fantasy points against the Chiefs. Didn't say you called that one, but you called it.
Yeah, dude. It's easy to pick streaming options at this point.
It is, yeah. Hey, Aaron Rodgers was my start of the week. You know what you said to me when I said Aaron Rodgers?
Is he back, baby?
You said, this is what you said. Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, I did say I didn't like that. I'll admit it.
It's okay. I
kind of hate it.
I didn't like Chris Godwin this week, so touche, Ben.
Goff, we said was a good streaming option for last week.
You know, it's funny.
23 fantasy points.
You want to know something funny?
What? Jared
Goff's pretty good at home, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's kind of bad on the road.
He's terrible on the road.
I wonder who would have predicted that.
Yeah, that's literally everyone. Mariota had a relatively decent week, 23 fantasy points.
That is interesting.
Very interesting.
Keep your eye on that one.
No.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying keep your eye on it, meaning
I refuse.
We'll see how that plays out. But
Gardner Minshew is continually giving us 16 fantasy points a game.
I'll take it.
And he's like, yeah, it would have been good for me this week too.
Yeah, actually, I would have.
It's so just think about this. Think about this right now. How many of these guys are like in your outside of like maybe Rodgers and Jackson? How many of these guys are were in your top 10 to start this week? Winston, Goff, Brissett, Stafford, Mariota, Flacco, Rivers, Carson Wentz.
Rivers probably would have been
Wentz, Jackson,
probably.
Rodgers.
Yeah, so that's half. That's half.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And I include Jared Goff, which would be half. But
it just proves to you. And then you look at some busts at the quarterback position. Russell Wilson had 14 fantasy points,
which isn't
Daniel Jones, who was a perfect matchup against Washington, completely crapped this.
Which this means, so for the rest of the season, is Daniel Jones even worth the start?
No, drop him probably.
Yeah,
I would say. I think people jumped the gun on him,
including me. Yeah, not gonna lie.
I mean, I told you guys to start him against Washington. Yeah. I apologize.
It was a good matchup, though. I mean, after the week against Tampa Bay, it made sense that he would bounce back and have another good week. But
Deshaun Watson, I do want to discuss him for a second. He's been horribly inconsistent this year.
So this is interesting. He did have a tough matchup, and who got injured? Kenny Stills, I think, or was it Will Fuller?
Kenny Stills.
Okay. He has no offensive line, right? Which has been established.
They've traded for an all-star left tackle
who has stunk this year.
Tunsil has stunk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This isn't even coming from me. Like people who have been Texans. Yeah, he hasn't been great.
I haven't watched many Texans.
Well, I don't know. If
I try to watch.
I don't know if he's stunk, but he hasn't made a difference. The O-line is still not good at all. Does Deshaun Watson? He's still gonna be good, but is he the number 2 quarterback in fantasy? Which what people thought he would be going into the year?
No.
Yeah. It's Lamar Jackson.
This is exact. And I thought Deshaun Watson would be the number 2, maybe even the number. When they made all those trades, I was like, "There's no way he's not the number 1."
Like Kenny Stills, Hopkins, and Will Fuller. That's why I drafted him, because he had so many weapons.
Here's the big thing and this is why we told you all off season, and we'll tell you this next off season, and we'll tell you off season after that, and we'll tell you draft season, we'll tell you for the next 10 to 15 years, for the rest of my life, I will say never to draft a quarterback early.
Unless it's Patrick Mahomes. Come on, bro.
I don't know if I want to do that.
I do.
I know you do. You love Patrick Mahomes a little bit too much, but. Like, you get a guy like Deshaun Watson,
you make a good point,
who you believe in, and then all of a sudden he doesn't play the way.
Aaron Rodgers this week had a great week, but through 4 weeks as a whole, hasn't been worth the 3rd-ranked quarterback. Right. Baker Mayfield was number 4.
What did he get? He had 11 points.
Who? Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, 11.
I'm trying to look up his stats to see if it's home road dependent.
Oh, that's actually a good question.
I'll look him up.
He did play Carolina, which held Jameis Winston to 15 fantasy points and Jared Goff to 15 fantasy points.
He's been a can at home.
Yeah, so never mind. I don't.
The crap.
Carolina has actually been one of the best.
See, that was me trying to find some great fantasy points, and
it's you know what it is
on the road, guys.
It's just
start him on the road.
It's just defense matchup dependent. If he plays a poor defense, he's going to be Deshaun Watson. But if he plays against a top 10 defense like Carolina, I
think he's flown under the radar though, because people have been very much adamant on Baker Mayfield sucks. He's not good anymore. And it's the way Deshaun Watson has performed this year. I mean, he's had two 20-point games. He's been better than Baker.
He had a 30-point game and a 28.
I'm saying he's better. He's been better than Baker. The only reason why I say Baker is because everyone's attacking him for his bad performances. I'm saying Deshaun Watson.
I get what you're saying.
Deshaun Watson was expected to be, and you drafted him in the 6th round, so he was expected to be a guy that comes in and plays for your team week to week and gets you 20 fantasy points, and that's what you wanted him to be, especially being a top 3 quarterback. So for him to not come out and do that, you have to kind of call the guy out and say, all right, this is what's going on.
I would say just the difference between those guys and even he's been Rodgers.
Yeah,
those guys have had 3 bad games and 1 good one. Mayfield hasn't had 1. He's been 4 bad games. Watson's at least had 2 good, 2 bad.
I'm not comparing Watson and Mayfield.
Right.
I'm just telling you.
No, I get what you're saying.
No one's calling out Watson for being
I think if Watson has another bust week, another week under 19, then he should be considered a bust at that point.
Quickly, Dak Prescott, 8 fantasy points. Is this proof of what he is, or is it just Dallas not playing well in a game?
It's a little bit of both, I think. Dallas didn't play well in a game, tough defense, but I don't think he's going to be what he was.
They're not even tough. They were the number coming into that game. They gave up the number 1. They gave up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks all season.
I understand that number, but just look at the Saints secondary. They have players, right?
I understand that, but the talent around Dak Prescott should.
And also, that stat was also inflated because Russell Wilson had 2 trash time touchdowns last week or 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So Saints defense shouldn't be the worst or one of the worst, but it wasn't an awful matchup for Dak, but it was also again in New Orleans too, so that does add to it.
Right.
I don't think Dak's obviously going to be that bad. I still think Dak's going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback,
right?
Top 7 maybe. But he did play the Dolphins, the Giants, and the Redskins in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah,
those are the 3 easiest matchups you can get.
Just
like another quarterback, he's matchup dependent.
Let's talk about some running back booms of the week. Nick Chubbalicious.
Oh man, what a beast!
37 rumbling points right into the end zone, scoring 3 times. They're both the only reason why Cleveland freaking beat the Baltimore Ravens this past. The Ravens have lost 2 in a row. We are a fantasy football podcast, but the Ravens have lost 2 in a row. They're coming down to earth.
Yeah.
But Nick Chubb, 37 fantasy points. This is what you were expecting to get when people started ranking Nick Chubb as the number 10 running back. I was scared of Nick Chubb, I'm not going to lie. but he's been more involved in the passing game early in the season. He's looked like
I'm actually still scared of Chubb a little bit long term. Just because, are the Browns going to be dumb and use Kareem Hunt more than Chubb?
No, I'm not worried about that at all.
Okay.
I
don't.
He might come in and like steal all the passing work from Chubb, but I don't even think Chubb needs the passing work.
He doesn't. But I don't know how Freddie Kitchens is going to use him.
We're getting closer and closer to that too.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt Nick Chubb.
I don't think it. I mean, it's just like a slight concern in the back of my mind if I have Chubb.
Yeah,
but it's still something
We talked about Jordan Howard in the last program. 31 fantasy points.
One-hit wonder.
Yeah, one-hit wonder.
McCaffrey's a baller.
Well, I just want to talk about for a second the fact that Christian McCaffrey had 27 touches. The guy's a monster. I said this on
catch.
I did. I said this on Sunday though, and I didn't tweet it. I just was talking to my friends and family, and I said at some point Christian McCaffrey is going to get hurt. The amount that they utilize, I'm not wishing it on the man.
No, it is
the
like
fact that they
that
utilize him, like, and they give him 25 to 30 touches a game. It's just
I'm
like
surprised he hasn't had at least like a small like hammy or like something.
You cannot continue doing that.
Yeah,
there's no way he's going to be able to hold up on that. And to be honest with you, as an NFL like fan and as a person who appreciates like all aspects of the NFL. They should not be utilizing Christian as a fantasy people. Like, we love Christian McCaffrey being utilized. So on this program, I will love this. But I don't think the Carolina Panthers should be utilizing Christian McCaffrey this much.
And this is coming from somebody who hates RBBCs and wants workload.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm not saying get backs. Other people, but like
they should have somebody in there to get like 5 carries a game.
But like, I mean, you can run it with him 20 times. You don't have to throw it to him like 10 times a game either.
He's their number one receiver.
They're so dependent on the running, like on him as a receiver as well. It's like, I feel like this is what I would be nervous about as a Christian McCaffrey owner, is it's going to lead to an injury at some point.
Is it going to be this year though?
I don't know. I have a website that'll tell me that.
Wow.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
In redraft leagues, I mean, I think McCaffrey's going to be the number one running back in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know yet. I don't know.
Okay, I was like, you're looking at something.
Christian,
I
do believe that there is a good chance that he misses some form of time this year, and that's.
I mean, it's possible, but you can say that. I mean, we've said this before. You can say that for every player in the league.
This website says that he has a 46% of chance of injury, and it says that he is projected to miss 1 game. So
I mean, I still wouldn't be that worried if it's 1 game.
He's missed 1 game in his college and a professional career.
1 game.
And it was against Notre Dame.
He's missed 1 game in college and professional.
I don't even know what this is.
I get the point you're making, and it makes sense.
You can't just look at
if I own McCaffrey, I'm not worried about that right now.
It's a human. It's a human being. Like, at some point, getting hit 37 times a game is going to come back and bite you. I would be concerned about that.
I mean, I said the same thing about Barkley, and Barkley ended up getting hurt. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I got you.
But
Austin Ekeler had his last 26-point game of the season.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it while you last.
He, again, like, I think he had 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
So even, like, when Melvin Gordon comes back, I think he'll actually still be okay. Yeah. Like, he could still be a flex option.
I mean,
especially right away.
People are kind of having some wishful thinking on Austin Ekeler this year. We have the Austin Ekeler owner in our league is convinced that he's going to be a high-end RB2, and I'm like, okay, let's slow roll. Yeah. I mean, I am one to believe that for a little while at least, Melvin Gordon
in PPR. Do you think Ekeler could be?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's always been an RB2, but yeah. I think for Melvin Gordon, it just depends on how much work they end up giving him. Because
right away,
if he splits, well, even rest of the season, like if they get back to using Melvin Gordon like fully in what they want to do, if they start splitting snaps between Ekeler and Melvin Gordon, I think they'll both be good. But I think that it's going to cap Melvin Gordon a little bit in terms of production. He won't do as much. And I honestly believe the way that Ekeler has played, if they want to give him a large contract, there's no reason for me as ownership or as a coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, who were trying to make some form of a playoff run at some point, to utilize Melvin Gordon an insane amount, especially with his injury history. So it's like, I would not be surprised if Austin Ekeler takes 45% of the snaps. But we'll just have to see what happens when Melvin Gordon gets fully back. I do think Ekeler is not going to put up 26 points anymore. Like, that's not going to happen. He'll probably give you like 12 to 15. That's probably fair. That's probably fair.
It might even be less, honestly.
Fournette, 25 fantasy points. And guess what, guys? He didn't score a friggin' touchdown.
Ridiculous.
He had 225 plus yards all purpose. This was bound to happen for Leonard Fournette at some point. Mm-hmm. And I think that defenses, I told you this earlier today, defenses are starting to pull away from stacking the box on Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
And when that happens, Fournette is so talented that he's just going to take advantage of that. So I'm excited about Leonard Fournette in the future. I drafted him in our league. I traded him away because I was getting sick and tired of 10-point games. But when I drafted him, I felt that he was a league winner this year. That he was going to be a guy that would come in.
I liked Fournette too.
Get 95% of the snaps, which he is. Get 20-something touches a game. And score. If he can score 10 to 15 touchdowns, the guy's a league winner. Simple as that. He just got to start scoring touchdowns.
Will
to
he?
Me. I don't know. Jacksonville is so like I don't know if Minshew gets better, which he has improved week to week. Yep. If he gets better, then I think Fournette's going to do that. But as long as Fournette can salvage enough opportunities until Nick Foles gets back week 10, then we should be okay.
Quickly, non-fantasy related. It's going to be very interesting when Nick Foles comes back.
If Gardner Minshew's winning games. I mean, because, Nick Foles didn't really get to show that he could win or lose games.
I know it was only one quarter, but Nick Foles looked good.
Yeah, no, he looked good.
He threw a touchdown.
I think they go back to Foles.
Okay.
Unless Gardner Minshew starts, throwing 3 touchdowns, 300 feet. Yeah. I don't see many.
Which, the way that division is, they could be.
That's true. Gallman, we talked about on our last episode, 24 fantasy points. Don't expect it this week.
No. Week to week for Gallman. He's going to matchup dependent.
Gurley, this is the last guy we'll talk about in the booms category, but Gurley finally looked like Gurley on a couple of his running plays.
Yeah.
There's one touchdown run that he finally looked like Todd Gurley again, and it was like, wow, this guy, back to, because all season he's kind of looked, I think he honestly has missed out on the opportunity to get regular, like they put him on the quote veteran workload in the preseason, and I think it really did affect him. Like, look at where we are. We're week 5. Todd Gurley's starting to look like Todd Gurley.
They also made a effort this week to get him involved more.
This is one thing
you saw the Sean McVay quote before the game.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the other thing is too, really quickly, is Todd Gurley was always utilized in the screen game, and he was just completely taken out. And this Sunday, they started throwing it more in that direction.
Gurley, he's going to be good, but he's just going to be – I still think he's going to be kind of up and down all year.
Yeah. Some notable busts. David Montgomery, 8 fantasy points on 21 carries. Ugh.
Is that a good sign, though? Because I actually like long term, 21 carries.
Well, yeah, long term, but if he keeps putting up 8 fantasy points,
well, right, obviously 8 fantasy points is not good.
Josh Jacobs has been extremely hit or miss with 11,
and it's been mostly miss. Although he had 11 this week.
Yeah,
it's not terrible.
No, he had 22 week 1, and then it's the third week of the season he had more than that. He's been a little. He's literally. I talk about this every time we talk about Josh Jacobs, but he's literally
23 in half PPR. He had 23, 9, 4, 11. So
he's literally Sony Michel from last year.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So I think outside of that, I mean, you had David Montgomery 8. You had Mark Ingram with 7. I told you Mark Ingram touchdown dependent. He'll continue to be touchdown dependent. Marlon Mack had freaking 3.
Wow, that was bad.
Is Marlon Mack
against Oakland?
We'll talk about Marlon Mack
He had
later.
3 against Oakland.
Against Oakland. Gross. I even said to start.
Is Sony Michel at this point just
I would take him out of your lineup if you're still starting him.
Yeah. But he's still worth a roster spot, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't get rid of him. Let's talk about some wide receiver booms really quickly. Chris Godwin, 35 fantasy points. We had a long discussion on the last podcast about Chris Godwin, so we'll leave that one alone. Devontae Adams is back.
Yep.
23 fantasy
without
points. Without a touchdown. What was 180 yards?
Yes.
10 catches.
And 3.5 quarters.
Yeah. Robert Woods has 22.
Hey, there we go, Robert Woods.
We kind of said this a little bit on our last episode. I mean, last week, not our last episode. That Robert Woods was due for something like this at some point. AJ Brown, we discussed him on our last show. Cooper Kupp. What freaking Rams receivers right now? What is this?
Hey, it's back to last
every year.
Hey, but do you
throw
see
a dart at the wall.
List?
Throw a dart.
Brandon
just
Cooks.
hope. Brandon Cooks is not on that list. Yes, you're right. Cortland Sutton did have 21. Galladay came back, had 21 as well.
Baller. Told you to start him.
Freaking Corey Davis. Pass. But then you got, this is the weird part about this week, is that you had a lot of guys like A.J. Brown came in, Kenny Galladay, Cortland Sutton, Jarvis Landry,
Devontae Parker,
Corey Davis, Devontae Parker. There was like a lot of random guys in the top 12.
Trevor Davis had 13.
What the frick is that?
I don't even know.
I think he was like the 5th receiver on the Oakland
I'm pretty sure he had a run. Was that him that had the run?
It might
There was some Raiders player that had a 60-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
I think it might have been him, actually. I didn't watch any of the games, so I wouldn't know.
So, but you have guys like, just to move right into the busts for wide receivers, you had guys like Odell Beckham. You had guys like DeAndre Hopkins. There's quite a few.
I mean, Julio didn't. Even guys like Keenan Allen and Julio, who have been the 1 and 2 receivers this year, each had 7 points.
And I was like, okay, what is it that we can expect from these guys from week to week now? And I looked at last year, and I looked at weeks 1 through 4 from this year, 1 through 4 from last year, and those people panicking about Odell and DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and all the top 5 receivers, they were all ranked outside of the top 12 after 4 weeks last year.
Yeah.
And so it's like, be patient.
Yeah,
Wait on these guys.
You got to be patient.
Do not panic. You're obviously going to have concerns. You're obviously going to have situations, but there's no reason to freak out about guys. And then really quickly on the tight end side, Hoop, there it is, 17 fantasy points.
Hey, Hooper.
Mark Andrews is becoming that touchdown dependent.
So before the season, you thought Hooper was. We both thought Hooper was a big time sleeper.
He's so boomer bust though.
He is. He's had three of the 4 games have been good though.
Good
this season. Is he going to be a?
No. Wow. Top 6 probably.
I was going to say top 5.
Yeah.
Is he top 5?
No.
So right outside top 5 though. 6?
No, I think it's going to be.
I kind of agree with you. I think he's going to finish around like 6.
Kelsey. Mm-hmm. Probably.
I still have Kittle and Ertz. Sorry, I do.
Like, come on, dude. You got to get off that. Kittle is not that anymore.
He had a bye week, dude.
He's not that anymore. Stop it.
Okay.
So I would have Travis Kelce. Probably Ertz will be in the top 5.
You don't think George Kittle's going to finish in the top 5?
Darren Waller will be in the top 5, and then I think that Mark Andrews will be in the top 5, and then maybe George Kittle.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I'm not. Cow. Dude, you just.
Kittle's going to be better than Ertz.
Okay, buddy.
I actually don't know that for sure.
He's like, I don't know that for sure. But yeah, Zach Ertz had 10 points this week.
You're fading Kittle way too much, though. Way too much.
I don't think so. I disagree. If you started Rudolph, you got bummed.
Yeah.
But I don't even know who.
Why would you start Kyle Rudolph?
Why would you start?
OJ Howard, is it time to cut? Finally, yes.
Yeah. I would say get rid of him.
The answer's been yes since week 2.
See you later. Bye. That'll do it for our booms and busts segment. Let's talk about some trade targets. For this week. So number 1 on our list is David Montgomery.
Yes.
Like Rick said, Montgomery has been getting around 20 carries a game. They're starting to give him the Jordan Howard workload.
Yeah.
The concern is that he looks like Jordan Howard.
Right. But for people who...
He looks more talented than Jordan Howard. But it looks like... to me, this is what it looks like. It looks like everything is on Matt Nagy's awful play calling.
It is.
Let's just give it to Montgomery right up the middle every time.
That is I'm like, very true.
Idiot. Utilize Montgomery the way he should be utilized.
They don't do anything unique when they give it to Montgomery.
It's just right up the middle.
It's just right up the middle. You're right.
And it's like he's so much more talented than just giving him... Like, give him draw plays. Give him, like... Obviously, you're going to use it to pound right up the middle. But, like, give him draws. Give him outside runs. Like, do some more creative stuff with David Montgomery. It's like Matt Nagy's a brick offensively. He does not get it. I don't understand.
The reason I would say to buy him, though, is because right now, if just somebody owns him in the league, they see he's gotten in half PPR 5, 13, 9, and 8. And they're like, he's not really great. But I would buy him just for the risk.
Yep.
That he got 21 carries last week, right?
No, right.
So he is going to be used in the offense a lot more. In the snaps, everybody's been tweeting about his snaps by week, but 38% 45%, 65%, and then this past week he had 70%.
So week one, they didn't even utilize him. Correct. And if they had, that was probably the most porous defense that they played in terms of rushing the football. Green Bay has been a great pass defense, but they're terrible. Their run defense is not good. Their run defense is not good. So that should have been a better game for Montgomery, but he wasn't even utilized, so it's not
They
even his
gave
fault.
him like 5 carries that game.
They started to give Montgomery more work against Denver, but he was kind of shut down in that game. That was the game where he had 14 fantasy points. And then he played Washington, who's given up the 23rd least fantasy points per running back, and then Minnesota, who's 25.
Washington, he was actually his best game. He had 5 yards per carry. 67 yards on 13 carries, which is he had 10 fantasy or 9.5.
But just so bear with me on this.
Okay.
So Oakland is week 5, which should be an easier matchup for him. And then he has New Orleans, which has been pretty good against defense, which is a bad matchup. Then he's got Los Angeles, who's given up the 12th most fantasy points to running backs.
Philly's
16th most against Philly. Yeah, Philly's been absolutely
Then he's got
destructive.
Detroit twice, and then the Rams,
New York, Green Bay, Dallas, Los Angeles.
So it's interesting. So it actually, he's gonna have a tough stretch from week 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Then I think it gets pretty easy for him.
I think that we just need to see him on a full workload against some easy matchups.
I would just say buy him just for the simple fact that people are down on him and he's going to get carries.
I agree. What would you trade for him?
Still not a lot. I'm not going out of my way for David Montgomery at this point. But if a team is very down on him, I'm definitely looking at him. It's like, give that other team a good bench player or two and see if they'll take it type thing.
I'm going to talk about Marlon Mack for a second.
Okay.
So Mack has been terrible. He's
3 points this week. You got
3 points against Oakland.
3 points against Oakland.
This is probably Marlon Mack has shown signs of being really good, and then he showed signs of being really bad. And I really don't know what to expect from Marlon Mack, but at this point, the Marlon Mack owner is probably like sick of it. And it's probably time to take advantage of it. I don't think you have to give up too much to get Marlon Mack, and I think he's better than what he's shown over the first 4 weeks of the season. I think that as the season goes along, he'll probably get more efficient, and he'll probably get more. He's gotten the opportunity. I don't know. Who are they playing this week?
Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. No, they weren't.
Yep.
No, last week.
The past week, Raiders. I thought you were saying who they're playing this week.
How much did they lose by is what I'm really asking. They were getting blown out by Oakland.
Yes, they were.
So this is the big thing.
Well, they only lost by 7, but they were losing the whole game.
We've talked about this before with Marlon Mack, is that when the Indianapolis Colts are winning, right, Marlon Mack does good. When the Indianapolis Colts are losing, Marlon Mack does bad. And I think that's situation dependent. You know what I mean?
So does that mean he's not going to have a good week against the Chiefs this week?
He might.
He might have like an average week.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's kind of their run defense has been a lot better this year. But I would buy him now and hope for the best. Cross your fingers. See what happens. I know that doesn't sell you on a lot. But right now he's ranked on Fantasy Pros ECR as the number 11th running back. His schedule does get a little bit easier with Kansas City next week, and then he's got Houston, who's a little bit more difficult, but then Denver, Pittsburgh, Miami. But his end-of-season schedule is a little bit Tennessee, Tampa, and New Orleans. That's never a good thing. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to buy him.
I would still buy him.
I would still buy him. He's not going to be a lot right now.
Yeah, I'm not going out of my way for Mac, but again, like you said, the team's probably sick of him.
Yeah.
I mean, if I drafted Marlon Mack...
the team is probably sick of him.
If I drafted Marlon Mack late 3rd round, early 4th, and he's having the season he's had, I'd probably try to sell him. So you can take advantage of that and buy him. I mean, obviously don't go out of your way for Marlon Mack, but again, if the situation's right and the team is selling, I would consider buying Marlon Mack.
And then the final one, you kind of were like, oh, he's already good. You're not going to be able to get him. So this one's a little weird.
I think I know where you're going to go, though. But
coming off a big... Okay, so Marlon... the guy is Dalvin Cook. I'll start with that. Dalvin Cook, right now, he was drafted in the 2nd round. I think people who are not plugged in to the fantasy world are going to be a little bit they're going to be like, okay, it was a second-round pick. Is Dalvin Cook actually going to be Dalvin Cook? Like, you know what I mean? I think that's what people are going to start thinking.
Yeah.
Even though he's been absolutely incredible and is probably going to finish the top 3 back. But Dalvin Cook, to me, right now, he's coming off this game against Chicago where he had 16 half PPR fantasy points.
Yep.
He's been relatively decent in. He was good in that game, but he looked inefficient. And I think a lot of people right now, this is to me, this is the lowest you're going to have. This is the best opportunity you're going to have to buy him. Now, the reason why I say buy him now is because, like, if you tried to go after a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, untouchable, right?
Right.
You go to Christian McCaffrey, untouchable. Any of the top 5 Kamara, untouchable. Dalvin Cook was drafted in the 2nd round, and the owner's probably not thinking of Dalvin Cook yet
as a top 5 back,
as a top 5 back and completely untouchable. So if you reach out to that, it's going to take a megalodon, like, huge offer.
Yeah.
It's going to take a monster offer. You're going to give up a lot.
But you should treat him like he's
a top 3 back.
Zeke.
Yeah. So go out, make an offer, try to acquire Dalvin Cook, get him on your team, and then roast everyone for trading him away.
Yeah. So that's fair. I don't know how many teams, though, are going to trade Dalvin Cook right now.
I don't think there's a lot of them, but that's why I said you got to offer a lot. And, like, by the time you get to week 7 or 8, this guy's going to be completely untradeable.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to be like, no, I'm holding on to him. So now's your opportunity before that gets to that point in the next 4 weeks to trade for Dalvin Cook. People are going to be like, you idiots, you told us to trade for Dalvin Cook. Why would I? Yeah, whatever. So let's go over our weekly matchup breakdowns, and we're going to start off with Thursday Night Football, Rams at Seahawks.
Oh, that's actually a very good game.
We've 2 games in a row here. So like always, we'll go over the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and then tight ends. So let's start off with the Los Angeles Rams quarterbacks, Jared Goff. I said quarterbacks for the Los Angeles Rams. Quarterbacks for the Rams and the Seahawks, Russell Wilson and Jared Goff. Is Goff on the road?
He is.
He is. Yeah.
Seattle.
Sit Jared Goff.
Yep. That's all you need to know.
Sit Jared Goff. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Sit Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And then for the Seahawks, Russell Wilson at home.
It's a good start
Against the Rams defense.
Jameis Winston had the week he did. It's not like a bad defense or anything like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Is the Seattle Seahawks going to have to score a lot of fantasy points? I mean, are the Seattle Seahawks going to have to score a lot of points to beat Los Angeles?
I think so, yeah.
At home? I don't think so.
I mean, would define a lot. They're going to have to score
The over-under for this game is 48.5 right now. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of points. So it's not a lot. The Chiefs games are always at like 52.
The Rams can score, dude. The Rams are good offense.
I know they have a good offense, but they're on the road.
I know, but
against Seattle.
I think Russell Wilson's a decent play. I don't think he's going to be top 5 this week.
See, now a play that you wouldn't have done last week, you're like tempted into doing.
What?
For the Rams. Last week if I said, "Oh, let's start Jameis Winston," you'd been like, "No, that's stupid." You had him as a sit of the week.
I know, but then Winston scored 30 points and that changed my mind. You're right. You're 100% right. And Winston was in LA.
All right,
Russell Wilson is home.
Let's not confuse them.
Listen, Russell Wilson at home is a top 5 fantasy quarterback.
Okay.
That's just how he is. He's at home this week. And it's the same as Jared Goff, but the opposite.
I'm not going to say not start him. I'm just going to say be careful.
Okay, I agree with that.
Be careful.
But you should still start
him. Todd Gurley and Chris Carson.
Ooh.
Penny is still not back yet. So
if he plays Thursday.
If he plays, yeah, Penny will not be back.
You still got to start Carson.
Or you start, yeah. I
think.
He's like, I'm thinking.
You do.
He had 16 fantasy points this week.
That's solid.
Yeah, it was a good game. But if he fumbles again, that's kind of...
I know. It's somebody you should keep your eye on for sure.
Yeah. Against Los Angeles, that's going to be a little bit tougher, but I think
it is going to be a tough matchup.
I don't think he's dependent on a bad matchup on the ground because they're going to pass it. So I think Carson is a good play this week. And then Todd Gurley, he's been up, he's been down, and he's on a short week. So he makes me a little bit concerned, but you kind of have to start him at this point. Yeah,
you do. If you have Todd Gurley or Chris Carson on your team, you have to start him.
Let's talk about Lockett. And I'm not going to talk about anybody else on the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not sure
it's just Lockett pretty much.
Yeah, Lockett, and then Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, and Robert Woods. Let's talk about the dart on that one. Which guy do you want?
I mean, at this point, you have to start
Cooper. Start Cooper Kupp.
You have to start Cooper Kupp.
All right, let's take Cooper Kupp out of the conversation and say Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods.
You know what?
Guy do you want
this week actually might be a Cooks week. Now, the reason I say that
Let's go, Cooks.
is because in Seattle, they might be losing.
Yeah.
Might have to take a deep shot down the field. Who does that help?
Might hit Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only guy I would... I mean, to me, I think you start
if you
all
have,
three.
If you,
yeah,
right, because
start one.
There's a good chance you only have one of those guys on your
You
team.
kind of have to roll with him.
And if you have one of those guys, he's probably your receiver too.
Yeah.
So you kind of do have to start him. But I think this week the order will probably be Kupp, Cooks, and Woods, but I could be wrong.
Tyler Lockett has been getting targeted a healthy amount the last couple weeks. Week 1, he just wasn't targeted.
He didn't have a great week this week, but he's still, I mean, for his worst week of the season, 7.5 points isn't terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that in a standard league? Because he had 10 catches too.
He did?
Yeah. So he should have been right.
He had 4 catches. Against Arizona?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was
looking at the wrong metric.
Yeah, it was half PPR, 4 catches.
Google showing me things backwards.
Did he have 10 targets? Is that what he was?
I have no idea. Yeah, no, Lockett. I would start him this week against Los Angeles.
I think I would start him too.
That's a good start. Disley against the Los Angeles Rams.
Riding the train?
Is that I don't know. Give me a second to research that because I don't know if I want to ride the train yet. I was on Disley last week because the Arizona Cardinals have given
and
like 22 fantasy points to tight. So right now the Los Angeles Rams are ranked. I think it's 15 to 18 against tight ends.
15 to 18.
Yeah. So I'm not sure.
At home.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're playing Baltimore this week. What am I looking?
Dude, what are you doing?
Never mind. I was looking at the wrong week.
You're tripping right now.
I am tripping. They're facing Los Angeles.
I might say yes.
I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say no.
I'm
Sorry,
just
Disley.
on the Disley train, bro.
Put Disley. Put Disley on your bench.
All right, he had 8 targets this past week. That's why.
Yes.
I'm starting him.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Patriots at Redskins, 47.5 point over.
Oh, this is a fantastic game to watch if you're a regular NFL fan.
So for Tom Brady, is he a start against the Redskins? I would say yes.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because I'm not a big Tom Brady guy this year.
As far as the Redskins, so I'll give you a little bit. Case Keenum was benched for Haskins.
Don't start anyone.
Haskins, I just wanted to bring this up.
Okay.
This is just what I've been hearing. Is that so we know that Case Keenum was benched for Haskins. Haskins threw 3 picks. So now there's rumors floating around that Colt McCoy might start this week over Case Keenum and Haskins.
And the Patriots
because they don't want
so many tough quarterbacks to start the season.
They don't want to put Haskins against the Pats D because he's going to get absolutely.
I would agree. If I'm a Redskin,
yeah.
No way do I put Haskins. Didn't look like he was ready anyway.
Yep.
And you throw him against New England. That's such a bad decision. Like, I would start Keenum or Colt McCoy if I was the Redskins.
Now, the abyss that is the running back situation for both of these teams, Sony Michel, James White, and Chris Thompson, and Adrian Peterson. Are any of these guys?
I don't think so.
Are any of these guys flex options?
Sony Michel might have a good week this week.
Yeah.
But I've said that the last 3 weeks.
And he hasn't had a good week.
Well, I didn't think he'd have a good week against Buffalo, but I said it against Miami and the Jets. And
James White has also regressed like we had talked about.
He didn't play last week.
Is any of these guys worth a flex option, though?
In PPR, James White is obviously. But
and Chris Thompson, maybe? No?
No, not against New England. No, I'm not starting a single person on the Redskins. I'm not coming close.
Yeah, that's true. We'll just bypass all the Redskins. Julian Edelman and Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon might be a start this week.
Josh Gordon is a start. Julian Edelman is a start. I would definitely start both of them at this point. I just against Washington, I don't think you can get enough of the Patriots passing game. So that I'd probably go in that direction.
I don't think they're gonna go off though. Like it's gonna be another semi.
The over under is 47.5.
I would bet the under.
You can bet the under all you want, but 47 is a lot of points.
Do you think the Redskins are going to score more than 10 against New England?
No, but I think
so. Does that mean the Patriots are going to get 30?
35 points, yeah. I think they'll be all right.
They'll get high 20s.
Jaguars. See, you're making fun of the Redskins, but they haven't been that bad.
I'm not. You're the one making fun of the Redskins.
All right, boss.
You're saying the
Jaguars
drop
at
35
Panthers. Well, yeah, because their defense blows.
Yeah, but the Patriots offense.
Jaguars at Panthers, 42 points over under. It's a low scoring game for.
That is what it should be. Gardner Minshew is an obvious must start. We can avoid that. Next question.
All right.
Poor Gardner. He's playing against the Panthers.
Yeah. Kyle Allen, maybe.
No.
He's starting this week, by the way. No.
I like Kyle Allen though. He's been solid, but I'm not starting him.
Start McCaffrey. Fournette is a start.
You don't start McCaffrey this week against the Jaguars. Are you kidding me?
You're an idiot. Start Fournette.
Yes, you start both those guys, obviously.
I'm curious to see how Fournette goes off against the Carolina Panthers, because the Panthers have had a relatively decent
a very underrated defense this year.
So I mean, if they stack the box a million times on Leonard Fournette, I would be concerned a little bit about a 10 to 12 point game like he's always done.
Yeah.
But it just depends on how well Gardner Minshew is playing. If he's slicing and dicing and having a great game, then I think that they'll pull it a little bit off and they'll go to their running game a lot. But we'll just have to see how that situation works out. Chark is your man's. Chark had 6 fantasy points this last week.
Woo! Against Denver, though, tough matchup. You know I called that. And guess what? He's going to have another bad week against Carolina.
Okay, what about the Panthers? DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. Any options there?
I don't know. I'm kind of.
He's fading both of them
a little bit.
Yeah,
against Jackson. I mean, they're matchup dependent. So Jackson.
I'm really not going to buy into another Panthers wide receiver.
Yeah,
ever again. Sorry, guys. I love you. Bills at Titans. 38-point over under. It's just dropping. This is going to be a low scoring game, and I'm not sure you want anybody in this game. Now, I'm not sure. We'll see as the week goes along.
Josh Allen,
Josh Allen can play.
If Josh Allen can, do you start him against Tennessee?
I would start him. No, I would not start him against Tennessee.
I wouldn't either.
Sorry. The only guys I would really start in this game is probably Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I would start Derrick Henry. That's it. That's Frank
that's
Gore.
it.
Frank Gore. If Singletary's still out.
Yeah, I don't know if Singletary's going to be out though. Yeah, there's literally no one in this game. Derrick Henry. Want to talk about Derrick Henry for 5 minutes?
No.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's the only start. You pretty much said everybody else. I mean, at this point, you obviously don't start AJ Brown or Corey Davis, right?
No, I wouldn't.
Do you start? So obviously, I don't suggest it, but Marcus Mariota has been a top 15 fantasy quarterback
against Buffalo.
Potential streaming option. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no. Let's just talk about our last matchup: Ravens at Steelers, Sunday 1:00, 42.5 point over under. This is a interesting game. So we got Jackson and Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is not a start, but Lamar Jackson is I think is a great start against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's going to have a really good week.
I mean, Lamar Jackson at this point is the best quarterback in fantasy right now.
You probably should start him.
Did you know that? He's ahead of Mahomes right now.
Yeah, because Mahomes had 18 points.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be he's the number 2 fantasy quarterback right now.
Mahomes?
No, I mean Lamar Jackson. I'm talking just like in general.
Yeah, probably.
Right. So
yeah.
I think
sorry, I had to catch
if
up.
you have Lamar Jackson on your team, you got to start him.
You got to start him. That was a great pickup.
And then Mason Rudolph is not a good matchup against the Ravens.
Guys?
Ravens have a solid defense.
Mark Ingram, is that what you just said?
No, I was just saying the Ravens defense is solid.
Yeah. Mark Ingram against
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, sorry. I had something on my arm.
Yeah, I mean Ingram's a good start.
Against Pittsburgh.
I would start him.
Yeah, that's a good start. I think Pittsburgh hasn't been great against
the run.
So
yeah,
I think that Mark Ingram is a good start for the week. Marquise Brown and Willie Snead. Willie Snead has these really 10, 15 point games, and then he just goes nowhere and he disappears. Marquise Brown, start him.
Ooh.
Mark Andrews is a start, by the way.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is definitely a start.
Are you getting nervous about Mark Andrews yet?
Yeah, I don't think a few weeks ago I thought he was this year's George Kittle. I don't think he's going to be that.
Tell me who you think this year's George Kittle is.
It's Darren Waller, your guy.
Love you, Walrus.
I mean, he's this year's Kittle. I mean, Mark Andrews, Waller, and Hooper are the 3 guys I think at tight end that were either undrafted or drafted very late that are going to be top 6 fantasy tight ends. You said, who did you say? Hollywood Brown?
Yeah, Hollywood Brown. You want to start him against Pittsburgh?
No.
All right. That's not even as a flex.
No.
Okay. Wow.
I'm fading.
So Juju is the interesting one against I don't
like that at all.
No, I don't like it at all either. I'm gonna start him.
Well, you have to. If you have Juju,
you have Juju. Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It depends.
They held Odell to 3 points last week.
I think that was just... Yeah, but they also gave up 180 yards to the slot receiver.
But so that's a good point. That's actually...
Who plays the slot?
We'll see.
I think it depends on Mason Rudolph's performance. But why do they got to play Baltimore? Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm speaking as a Juju owner. And there's no one. Vance McDonald against Baltimore is something you don't want to do.
Nope.
But that, unless there's any other thoughts you have on these games,
I think that's going to do it.
That'll do it for this episode for matchup breakdowns.
And then when we go into the second half of this, we gonna talk about. You know who we gonna talk about?
Who they?
Patrick Mahomes.
Stop it. Be sure to listen tomorrow as we break down more matchups and discuss our starts and sits for the week. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Talk to you tomorrow, Fantasy Champions.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the FF Champs.